Hi guys, welcome to Page to the Core. My name is Stephen Dawes, and this is my video about the game against Brighton. Now, this was a bit of a crux game, I think, because obviously there's a fierce rivalry with Brighton, and of all the games that you really want to win, Brighton is one of those games that you really do want to win, and so obviously there's a lot going on in this game, and I thought that we were going to be I thought that we might push the boat out. I thought we might roll with it a little bit in this game. I thought that we might, if there was any game that we were going to come up and actually show what we can do, I thought this would be one of those games, because everyone at the club knows what it means to the fans and things like this. So that's what I was hoping for anyway when before this game. I'm going to quickly go through the teams. We had a big change at the back. We had Whitworth in place of Gaeta, because he got a calf injury late on in the game. So it's going to be difficult. I think he's going to be out for a while. So I think obviously Whitworth, who is going to be in there maybe for another couple of games. Whether they'll try and bring back Jack Butland from Manchester United, I don't know. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if they'll try, and hopefully Sam Johnson will be fit soon. We'll have to wait and see, I guess, on that. But Whitworth was in there in goal. Mitchell, Gahey, Anderson and Klein at the back as usual. Schlupp, Doucouré and Lokonga just ahead of them. Just ahead of them was Zaha, Edouard and Elise. So it was a 4-3-3 formation, which was something slightly different. And to be honest, when the game started, I thought we were playing really well. We started really fast out of the gate. We were pressing really hard. We had a couple of good chances which the keeper managed to save, and I was really pumped up for this. I thought, first few minutes, I thought, yeah, we're coming out, we're fighting on this game. We're really going to take it to Brighton, and we're really going to make a game of it. And that was kind of hopeful. That was my hope, that we would go out there and we would go for it, because at the end of the day, oops, sorry, I've just dropped my tablet. I do apologise. Because at the end of the day, what you want is your team to to show a bit of passion, especially especially in a game like the one against Brighton, which is a rivalry. And I was hoping we would show that. And the first 5, maybe 10 minutes, we did show that. We were moving forward. We were taking shots on goal. I think we had 5 shots at goal in the first 10 minutes of the game. So really pleased with the way we started. But then Brighton, well, no, it was kind of against the run of play, but Brighton were probing here and there and things like that. Then, unfortunately, Brighton scored the early goal, and I think it was against the run of play, really, because we had been playing well up until that point, and it was against the run of play, which was a bit of a shame, because I thought that we were playing well. It wasn't really Whitworth's fault. I think that it was a good goal. I think he did try his best to get to it, but it wasn't going in. It was going wide of his hand, and it was a bit of a shame that happened, because I think that goal going in, I think, changed the game for us. I think if it had stayed 0-0, I think we would have probably carried on pushing really hard and may well have got a goal ourselves. We had a couple of really good chances. Edouard had a couple of really good opportunities which he didn't put away, and so when the goal went in, I thought that we were a little bit we kind of flagged a little bit after that. I think that our heads dropped a bit. I think that we then slowed down, I think, quite a lot. We were quite high tempo the first 10 minutes, but then we slowed down quite a lot. I think Brighton, then having got the goal, their confidence rose up again, and I think they were then trying to play more of their own type of football, very fast, very quick paced football, which is something that we did last season for a lot of the time. And you could see that Crystal Palace slowed down, their tempo slowed, and they became a bit more defensive and sat back a bit more. And that really, for me, was the big issue. Once we started to sit back, once we started to let Brighton come at us, I knew that it was going to be a difficult game for us after that, and it was. I think, yes, we did have a couple of opportunities, but most of the time, we were kind of having a bit of possession in the middle. We weren't really doing anything going forward. We weren't getting it into the right areas. We weren't trying to create something. And occasionally we'd get a few angles right, and we'd get the ball into the final third. But most of the time, it was just a bit disappointing after that goal went in. And I guess you can understand it in some ways. There's a bit of worry there, a bit of concern that, are we going to lose this game, or are we going to have to fight again to get a draw, things like this. So from a player's point of view, I guess you can understand what's going on. But it just looked like our confidence went after that goal went in. So that was a bit difficult to see. And from then on, for the rest of the first half and into the second half, it was pretty much the same. It was Brighton coming forward. We had little flurries here and there, but for the most part, we weren't really showing anything at all. We weren't really showing any determination or fight to get a goal back. And it was again, towards the end of the second half, we had a bit of a spell when we were trying to get the ball into the back of the net. But again, it wasn't working very well. It wasn't finding anybody, or it wasn't a very planned out situation. It was more of a hit and hope. And that's what's been happening more and more as the games have gone on. I've noticed is that we've kind of almost abandoned the playing out from the back thing now, and we're kind of they get the ball and they hit it long, or if the ball comes to us, if we get the ball off someone, we then kick it long and things like this, and it's not always done with the intent of finding a player. Sometimes they just kick it long to get it out of their half of the pitch. And I've noticed that's happening, creeping in a bit more as well, which is a bit of a concern for me as well. In terms of Whitworth, I thought he had a great game. I mean, he conceded the goal, which I think any keeper could have conceded that goal. He made a very good save with his legs later on in the game, and he made another good save from a corner. So, he looked really assured, looked really confident, and at no point did I think that he was a liability, or that, we were going to lose the game because of him or anything like that. He looked really confident. I really liked his positioning and the way he was, distributing the ball. So, yeah, I think he's got everything to be proud of that game. He really came into it late on in the game, late on in the time, and showed he's got a great future ahead of him. I mean, he's a Palace fan through and through as well, which is fantastic. Started off as a ball boy, and really, he's got a bright future ahead of him. I think he's going to be really good. So that was a plus. Obviously, that was a bonus for us. A few people, Eze wasn't obviously in the original team. He did come in later on in the game. Didn't really do a huge amount, and to be honest, nobody really did a huge amount. Elise was in and out. Zaha was being marked really hard and really well. He was being battered around, so he really couldn't get into the game very much either, although he did have a couple of half chances. Elise probably had one of the best chances, couldn't put it away. I say Edouard had a couple of chances which he also couldn't do. So there wasn't a huge amount to be positive about in this game, which is a real shame, because I always try and find the good things in games. I don't always tend to go for the negative stuff. But it was almost like we were kind of carbon copies of previous games we played recently, where we just sit back, allow the opposition to run at us, and then try to get them on the break. The trouble is, our breaking isn't very good at the moment. We're good in defence. I mean, defensively we're very strong, but going forward and then creating something on the break is where we've been letting ourselves down. So I'm hoping that that will be changed. Now, of course, one of the things that's been all over social media is whether Patrick Vieira will get sacked now as a result of this. Personally, I was kind of expecting some kind of announcement this morning, actually, but there wasn't any. So I think now they're probably going to wait until after the Arsenal game. I think the Arsenal game will happen, and they'll see what happens there. And then we've got the international break, and I think they might take that time to think about their options. There are a lot of people who blame the board for not backing Patrick Vieira, and I'm kind of in that camp a little bit. I think that they've tried to manage the situation as best they can with loans and with short-term deals and stuff like that, which is fine. I know that Steve Parish doesn't want the club to get into huge amounts of debt again, and I can understand that. But at the same time, we do need certain players in certain areas of the pitch, strikers most importantly at the moment. Otherwise, we're just going to struggle. And at the moment, we are getting more and more desperate to start winning games and start getting points on the board, because otherwise we're going to find ourselves very quickly in a very serious situation. So I do think the board should have done more. Patrick Vieira, I think, had a good season last season, mainly because I think the personnel that he had in the team last season helped a huge amount. I think without those people in the team now, we're kind of seeing a different side to it, and he's not as... It's just too slow, for me speaking. The game is too slow. We play our football too slow. You know, we pass from one to the other to the other, and you know, we give the opposition time to think about what they want to do. You know, what we need to do is up the pace and take the game to them and really fight for every ball. You know, there were times again in the game against Brighton when we were sitting back and they were playing the ball across the back, and you think just got to close them down, be a bit faster, be a bit quicker, a bit more intent. But that's my 2 penny anyway, and my little rant over and done with. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the game, of course. Let me know what you think down in the comments section as always. And well, it's getting a bit difficult now to try and put a positive spin on the game, but we'll have to wait and see what happens at Arsenal next time. So let me know down in the comments what you think.